We are on the last two races of the season. Live from Jeddah, joining you from the commentary box. I am Salim Haddad, alongside me, Speed Quinn, welcoming you tonight. Good evening, Speed. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, of course. It's really exciting that we're here in in the home stretch of the season, and we've got Peter Vol just streaking ahead in the championship, 41 points ahead of both Slinky and Dan. The only way that those two can stop him from winning the title today is if either of them outscore Peter Vol by 5 or more points. If they aren't able to do that, I do believe he has the title all to himself. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens as Tim Vreiswijk sets the pace early with a 28-1, 6 tenths faster than Slow Salt. So a good first lap from Tim there.
Well, Quinn, uh, you were saying that these two drivers need to outscore him, and he needs to be outside of the top three. But this might sound a little bit impossible, but the Abu Dhabi finale last year in 2021 taught us that anything could be possible, even on the last lap of the race. Remember how Max Verstappen was able to overtake Lewis Hamilton in what looked to be like a fairy tale ending. So anything could be possible here.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely just looking at the pace setters now. There's two people gone faster than our championship leader, and his own teammate is very, very close to him. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this race plays out. As I do believe, well, it is. It has this track has broken a record for actually the most corners on any circuit ever. So it's going to be interesting. Some of them aren't really corners, but they're named corners. So realistically, there's only probably about 20-25 corners. But actually, there's probably over 30.
I believe I have a small graph of the circuit. 27 corners.
27, yeah, probably about 18 of them are actually corners.
So it's Tim Vreiswijk with a 128.1 provisional pole position. He set his lap. He's going back to the pits. And here is our championship contender, Slinky, leaving the pits now. You know, it has been a week off, and it feels like I don't know, like I missed the action. I missed the Slinky fan club. I missed these drivers. What's your take on this?
Yeah, definitely missed being here, just like commentating on the action, and yeah, although it's been alright just having a little break, it's still gonna be very interesting to pick up on the action.
I think we deserved it.
Yeah. So just gonna quickly look at the constructors championship at the moment, as I don't think we've ever updated, but I'm pretty sure Haas are gonna have this completely wrapped up because they're on 140 points, and then the closest team is Aston Martin, and they're on 64. So yeah, I think Haas completely have the constructors wrapped up. I'm just looking at this. The Haas team have had the most points out of every race on 5 occasions out of the 8 races so far. So Chris Hallett and Peter Vol really showing their dominance as a team together.
Chris Hallett has been a little bit unlucky in few races. Peter Vol was dominant throughout the race, throughout the previous races. And taking a look at the chats, we have LFR Wizzy supporting Peter and Slinky. Well, how can you support two enemies? How can you support Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton at the same time? Or Chelsea and Manchester United? You can't do that, man. I'm not saying someone is the villain, but yeah. And we have someone saying, we'll miss these commentators. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. We still have two races. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just on board with Peter Vol there, and he was going quite well through the first part of the first sector, but then he just invalidated, so it's unfortunate. I think he actually, yeah, he was on his out lap, and then he was going to do a fast lap, and then it just, he invalidated, so that's unfortunate for him.
You know, I've got a bad feeling about this circuit. I've got a feeling that we are gonna see a lot of crashes.
Yeah, I think just because people want to be as fast as they can, and just like, especially if you're in Peter Vol's shoes. I spoke to him before we started. Well, I spoke to him in the messages before we started, and I was just saying, if you're too careful, you're going to be slow, and if you're too risky, you're going to crash. And he said to me he's going to be very risky tonight.
Well,
he's going to be trying to go as quick as he can around here. He wants the title won tonight.
Well, here comes the concept of the golden mean from Aristotle. In philosophy, Aristotle, famous Greek philosopher, says that there is something in the middle that is called golden mean. It's between two extremes, between the good extreme and the bad extreme. For example, if you see someone drowning and you want to help him, so you throw yourself in the sea trying to help him, but you don't know how to swim, you're going to sink. This is stupidity. This is one extreme, and it's you didn't use your brain. And another extreme would be cowardness, staying away from that thing, going away. But the golden mean is doing the smart thing at the right time, at the right place. So you could call for help. I know this is probably an advanced concept for our viewers. I'm not trying to talk about philosophy. I'm just trying that there has to be a way in the middle. There has to be something in the middle. It doesn't have to be two extremes.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be careful. Fast and careful, maybe. That's the golden mean.
Just looking at the times now, the two Ferraris are really setting the pace. Only just over a tenth between them. Robin Wesling on provisional pole with a 1:27.7, and then Tim Breiswijk with a 27.8, and the closest person to them is actually Luna Jehe. In the last couple races, Luna has really shown the pace that they didn't show recently. Well, for the rest of the season, and up until, I'd say, Imola, or like one of those races, Luna showed a lot of pace. Just as I was saying that, Peter Vol managed to get a lap in. It's a 28.0. So currently provisionally on the second row of the grid with Luna Jehe, and he's going to be hoping they can get a really good launch off the line as the closest competitors to him. Of course, I've only just noticed LFR Dan isn't here. So Peter Vol has only got to worry about Slinky, and currently Slinky is starting in 5th.
Well, speaking of LFR Wizzy is saying that he can support both Peter and Slinky because they are both LFR goats. If you can't beat them, join them. And we have Enzo supporting iZenox for the win. I assume Enzo is French. Kyle Davidze. Hello, Kyle. How are you doing? That's a surprise. Yes, it's me, Salim. What a small world this is. The man in the chats, Kyle Davidze, was racing on Friday in a race that I was commentating on, and there he is in the chats. Who are you supporting, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm just currently on board with Wooly now. I didn't quite see what the first sector split was, but it looks like it's a very clean lap from Wooly so far, apart from going quite deep into the corner entry there. Looks like it will be an improvement, but it's very tight at the top. Pretty much a tenth between every position. Currently has a purple sector 2, so might be looking to push himself up a few places here. Let's see, very, very wide entry there on the last corner. That's going to cost him quite a lot of time, you'd think, and yeah, he's bailed into the pits there. Unfortunate, that last corner. The last corner's catching out a lot of people, especially in real life. If we go back to last year, everyone will know what happened to Max at the last corner in qualifying.
And everyone remembers what happened during the race between Max and Lewis. That was
something you'd see in league racing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 2 minutes to go, and it seems that Peter Vol is gonna miss pole position by 3/10 at the moment.
I know, he's actually out on an outlap now, and he's behind his teammate Chris. So maybe Chris is actually going to be... Well,
Ooh,
you can't do that, but they don't know that. You're not allowed to give toes to your teammates or anyone else in PSGL. Yeah, it's letting the Mercedes past.
We're gonna ignore that.
Yeah, both Mercedes, it looks like, are on fast laps, although this might be ASC Kamui. Nope, it's Provatox that's ahead of Peter Vol, and Provatox is the only person who has not set a lap time here.
And we have SJM, who is slightly off pace at 148. He's probably discovering the track. Well, I have Kyle Davidze in the chats. Yeah, Kyle Davidze had an amazing start in Interlagos in VRS Race 1. Sorry, I had to say this. That's an inside joke. So we have 18 drivers today. No reserves. And Peter Vol has just started his lap. Do you mind taking us on a hot lap with Peter Vol?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll be happy to. So, of course, using all of the limits of the track. Of course, you can cut this corner. Very, very nice there. Keep it tight and then just drift out, say, make the apex. Of these two, this is one of the trickiest parts, and he keeps it valid. Very, very good job through the first sector. Let's see what the split is. 3.5 tenths up. He keeps on going like this, he's going to be on for a pole position as he goes past Chris Hallett there. He needs to keep it tight to this wall, and he does. Very nicely done there by Peter Vol. Now high speed section left, then a right, then another left, then another right. For this very high speed corner, you want to be careful not to spin out on the exit, and he does very well there. Now we're on to the last part. Very close, very, very close there. Goes round the final corner. Does not do a Max Verstappen, which we are thankful for. What time will it be? It's on 1:27.6. But we've still got Robin Westing to go. I'm not sure if he's improving. He's just coming around the final corner now. Will he get better than Peter Vol? Just have to wait and see. It's not enough. He's 1,300 down. The 13,000's down, and Tim Breiswijk has invalidated, and Slinky, well, he's just in second sector now. What split? Oh no, he's 7.5 seconds. He must have had an incident, and he's invalidated there. So the highest he will start is 6th, and Wooly's gone and invalidated his lap, so he just moved out of the way. Xenox has invalidated. Slow Salt is still going, 3.5 tenths improvement from him so far. So stick on board with Slow Salt.
We have Luis Salguero supporting N2E in the chats. And Slow Salt gets a 128.3, puts him in 7th place ahead of Wooly. Well, things are not looking good for Slinky. He's gonna be starting from 6th place, unless starting from you know if you start last sometimes, and a big crash happens in front of you, your car stays safe. You're away from the action. This might be a good thing for Slinky. We don't know yet. It's all about the race.
Still got some people behind him. There is quite a big gap between Peter Vol and Slinky. And if Slinky's got any chance of stopping Peter Vol from getting the title, he's got to outscore him by 5 or more points. And I've just seen a very interesting helmet on a Williams. I think that might be Slinky.
And there's something that we haven't noticed. We have Chris Hallat, who is Peter Vol's teammate ahead of Slinky. They might play team orders.
Yeah, that's very, very big advantage there, because Slinky's teammate URL Chris is down in 12th. So he can't really have any say in what happens with Peter Vol, but Chris Hallett could definitely just be holding up Slinky. He could be the Fernando Alonso in this situation.
Well, ladies and gents, in today's episode, it's a Czech man starting from pole position. Mr. Peter Vol. Is he gonna win the championship tonight? Only one race to know. Could be this race, could be in the next race, could be in the one after. We are on the edge of our seats, waiting to know. But I would like to tell you that now you've got enough time to run to the kitchen and grab yourselves your favorite snacks and drinks, because doctors recommend that you should drink something while watching television because it makes it 10 times more enjoyable. I'm not a doctor, but yeah. Hello, Ethan Dalton, in the chats.
We have commentating royalty in here.
Yeah. Kyle Davidze is asking who's winning. Peter Vol has been dominating. He is leading the championship now. He needs to finish in the top 3 in order to win the championship. But is Slinky going to be able to stop him? We have to wait and see.
Yeah, this championship has just been very much a roller coaster for most of the drivers in here, but one driver who just seems to always come out on top, like the stars just align for him every single race, no matter where he starts, because I do believe there was one race where Peter Vol started at the back and he still managed to win.
But there's something that I would like to point out, and I would like to ask your take on that. Peter Vol has been offered the opportunity to get a promotion in Formula 6, if I'm not mistaken, and he preferred sticking with this league in order to win the championship. If you were in his shoes, what would you do? What would you have done?
I'd stick. If I was in a title fight, I'd stick.
More silverware?
5 red lights. And we are off. Just looking at the race starts from everyone, it looks like everyone's got fairly even, but look at Chris Hallett already passed Luna Jhay and Slinky. Slinky! Slinky's had a nightmare start. He's right at the back, and Peter Vol has actually dropped down 2 places as well, behind the 2 Ferraris. Let's go side by side with Tim Vriesvijk, and he actually gets ahead. That will most likely be a warning for him, though, but Robin Wesling is pulling away. Gap is about a second between Robin and Peter Vol, so what started off as a very good race start for Peter Vol dropped down to third, but Slinky dropped down to last place.
Well, Robin Weisling has had the start of his years. He has had a podium previously. A race win might be something he's looking forward to. I hope that I'm not going to be cursing him tonight. Best of luck for everyone. Seems that Peter Vol is kind of catching up to him. 6/10 now, the gap between them.
Yeah, like I said before, I talked to Peter Vol before the race, and I said to him, you can't be careful and you can't be too risky. Peter Vol said that he's doing everything he can to win the title here. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of risks he takes, whether he just... Because in a race like this, you really got to pace yourself and not push too early. Because even though he's on the hard tyres, if you push too early, then those tyres could just fall away from you.
And not to mention the pressure that you have. I mean, thinking about it, that you're leading the championship, but you need to finish in this specific place. So if you keep that in mind while driving, you're going to have nightmares.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the tyre choices from everyone. The top 5 at the moment have all got hard tyres. Xenox and Slowsalt are on the mediums. Then Group of 4, ZQ, Kamui, Chris and Wooly, all on the hard tyres. Then we've got Gongax and Provotox on the mediums, Chiquito on the hards, Pels 1 on the mediums, Rui Diaz starting on the soft tyres. Very interesting strategy there. And then we have Slinky and SJM both starting on the hard tyres. And now, just going to look at the positions gained, or position changes. Biggest winner is Provotox. Started, basically, yeah, he started last, and he's actually found himself in 12th place, so that's 6 positions gained for Provotox. And also Izenux, 5 places gained, started 11th, now in 6th, going side by side with Chris Hallett, and he gets the move done, side by side still. He had the move done a little bit, but then Chris Hallett got the position back. We see a little bit of a train forming here behind. Well, there's a massive DRS train from Robin Wesling back to Gongax, so Chris Hallett makes a little bit of a mistake, has a little bit of a wobble. Maybe that brings Izenux back in, but he's starting to pull away.
Holy cannoli. So we have 13 drivers battling for P1. As Izenux had a better exit, he's going to go side by side with the Haas of Chris Hallett. Chris Hallett defends himself. You know, it might be unfortunate for Slinky. He's now in 17th place, but remember what Jenson Button did in the Canadian Grand Prix 2011, I think. He won the race from last to first.
That was an incredible drive from Jenson there. It was an incredible drive.
I mean, never say never. Don't lose hope. It can still go anywhere. Hope
We're
is
only
what
a few temps away from this being a DRS train from the whole grid. It's only URL Chris that's 4 temps away from being within DRS of Kamui, so as Wooly actually gets past Chris now, I think Chris is just starting to drop back, and there's been an incident. Wooly, not sure what's happened there, but now we see both Alfa Romeos at the back of the grid, well, Provotox as well there. I'm not sure what happened there between those drivers. I think it may have been an incident between Provotox and Wooly. Just looking at the front wings of both cars, it does not look like there's any damage. There's no visible damage on the drivers as Provotox moves out of the way of Wooly. So now Wooly finds himself in 17th, and Provotox, after his amazing start, finds himself exactly where he qualified. So what was such a promising start for Provotox, it's come full circle.
Well, during the incident, Slinky was able to overtake Rui Diaz on turn 1, and he overtook some cars, and now he jumps up to P13, and he's carrying on. So, good to see him trying to get his feet back together, as Robin Weasling is still leading the race. Peter Vol only 1/10 behind. Peter Vol now with the DRS enabled. Is he gonna go round the inside line? He's gonna go. Oh, nicely. Oh my goodness! No. They made contact.
Oh, 3-second time penalty. I'd actually say that was Peter's fault there.
I think
he
the stewards
wasn't significantly alongside.
I think the stewards are gonna remove that penalty because it's not his fault.
Yeah. I do think that Peter Vol was at fault for that incident. He wasn't significantly alongside Robin Weasling, and of course that maybe Robin just didn't expect Peter Vol to be there. It was only his front wheels in line with his rears, and it looks like Wooly has had another incident, and it looks like his front wing may be completely gone. Can't get. Yep, his front wing is completely gone, so he will have to pit, and well, he may find himself completely in last place here.
He's gonna get a nose change, and we have another yellow flag. It's Red Bull of Rui Diaz. So we are on the 5th lap of the race. We have seen an incident between Peter Vol and Robin Weasling. Peter Vol, the tires of Peter Vol and Robin Weasling touched, and now Peter Vol is going to receive the RS. Is he going to go round the outside line? The two cars are going to go side by side. It's the Haas driver, the Czech driver, the leader of the championship goes through, and now he is leading the race, ladies and gents. Peter Vol is now the leader of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, because if Robin can get that penalty removed, all he has to do is stick within 3 seconds of Peter Vol, and he'll have the race win.
As Slinky jumps to P12.
Yeah, he's having a great recovery drive here after dropping all the way back on, I believe it was the first lap.
Well, taking a look at the chats, we have, I don't know how is that, Blaster or Blaster, asking, is it hard to join these low-tier Formula Leagues? No, it's not difficult at all. You just, okay, go to our Twitter account, the PSGL Twitter account. From there you can find a link to the Discord, and once you reach the Discord, it's gonna be straightforward to you. They're gonna tell you the guidelines, the rules, how to apply, etc. Very easy.
Yeah, so talking about that, it was Gongax actually had a spin in the first sector, and it doesn't look like he's got any front wing damage, so that's good for his race, but he's all the way back in 17th now. And just looking at Peter Vol and Robin Weasling once again, Robin does have ERS, but it's not going to be enough to do anything. So maybe Robin is just happy with sticking behind Peter Vol, knowing that if he can get this penalty removed, he will get the win. But we've seen in the past how quick Peter Vol can be and how much of a gap he can pull, as Robin Weasling nearly, very, very nearly puts it in the wall there.
You know, we are going to see a lot of mind games. We are going to see a lot of drivers slowing down on purpose to keep on receiving DRS. Just strategies and tactics.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that in the past here. But yeah, Peter Vol is actually starting to pull away that gap, just as I was saying before. Peter Volt is the sort of driver who can really pull the pace. And he's actually pulled out of DRS. I actually think Robin Westing got it there. Yeah, he did, but it's his teammate, Tim Breiswijk, who gets past, and he goes very, very deep, does Tim Breiswijk and Luno actually side by side with Robin Westing, now very close to touching. Ooh. Very, very close there between the two, but look at Luna J. go! Tim gives him the space, although he wasn't entitled to. But he stays ahead, Tim Breiswijk. Now the gap, all this fighting has caused the gap to grow even more. It's nearly 2 seconds. And Robin is really struggling here. He might have some underbody or front wing damage or something, because he is dropping back so far and he's outside of that 3-second gap to Peter Vol now.
Well,
now Chris Hallett is getting close to the back of him and he takes the inside line, he gets a superior exit. He's right on the gearbox of Robin. Yeah, Robin just seems to be understeering a lot here. Chris Hallett is just going to breeze past him. So, again, all these drivers having very promising starts. They're just dropping back now. Chris Hallett, I believe, is where he qualified, yeah. He's in P5 now. But Robin is still trying to catch up to the back of Chris.
Well, during that action, Slinky was able to overtake Chris, and now Slinky with the DRS. I thought he was gonna go for it. He waited for the Aston Martin off Peld to make a mistake. He took the outside line. Slinky took the inside line. Slinky with DRS now. Slinky goes through, and now he's in the points. Robin Weasley goes to the pits.
Yeah, Robin in the pits, I think. I'll keep an eye on it. Don't know if he had a wing change or not. It doesn't look like he did, but he has switched to the medium tyres now. So he may be going to the end on these tyres. Of course, you want to go a bit longer on the hard tyres. Maybe he just wasn't enjoying the hard tyres as they were. So
did he change his front
maybe the
wing?
mediums will give him a little bit more pace and a little bit more confidence.
Did he change his front wing?
I'm not too sure. I don't think he did. I'm not sure he did because the gap is only 23.5 seconds to Peter Vol. If he did, it would be probably over 30 seconds.
That's really strange then. Why would you pit on lap 9?
Like I said, maybe he just wasn't confident on the hard tyres. Maybe they were just falling off, but we just look back at the action. Luna J. got ahead. Oh, very close very close to contact there. But Tim gets the DRS and breezes back past Luna J. Great mind games there from Tim, giving himself, or letting Luna J. get past to give himself DRS for the main straight. And Luna J. and Izenok side by side. Very close to contact there, but Izenox is slightly ahead and he stays ahead. But Izenox, the red light is flashing on the back, which means he is running low on the ERS.
11%.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation for Izenox, being so low on ERS already. Robin Westing is in the pits again.
Soft. What is he doing? Is he betting for a safety car? But I mean,
not too sure.
10 laps have passed so far, and we didn't have any major incidents. I mean, the race today has surpassed my expectations. I was expecting to see a lot of carnage, a lot of safety cars. This has proved to be the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's been quite clean, and there's not really been many incidents. The only close battles we have are Izenix and Tim Breiswijk. at the moment as Izenix gets past, but the ERS light is still flashing on the back of Izenix, which means
And he goes to the pits.
he's chosen to go into the pits. There is only 15 laps including this one left, so maybe he's already pitting to change off the tyres. So I have to see what tyres he goes on to. He's switched to the hard tyres now. So maybe he's just trying to get an undercut on the likes of Tim.
Could be. And that moves Slinky to the 8th place. And now he has a 3-second gap separating him from ZQ, who is 7th. Seems Slinky is catching up. Now it's down. It's less than 3 seconds, 2.9 seconds. Slinky is flying now.
Yeah, he's really got into a groove now. You can see that he's just gaining time on ZQ everywhere on the track. And on that corner exit alone, he gained a 10th. So he's definitely showing his pace and what could have been. He makes contact with the outside wall there.
I hope.
Not sure if that's
no
going to be front wing damage.
Hope not.
It looks like he's still got his end plate on the right side. But it was quite a significant bump on that side. As you see yellow flags, that may have been
McLaren.
Chiquito letting Izenix past. So good teamwork there from the McLarens. Especially Chiquito for letting Izenix past. Because he knows that Izenix just isn't in his race today and he isn't battling him. But he will be getting DRS from Izenix here. As Provatox gets past Pels as Pels comes into the pits. And he's going to be switching to the hard tyres, I believe.
You know, Slinky today reminds me of Lightning McQueen in the first movie, catching up and during the race. Like, he went down to last, and then he was catching up everyone. Well,
the only thing that really sticks out for me in Lightning McQueen is that pit stop.
From Guido. Well, I don't want to sound too harsh, but that Fiat is a better pit crew than Ferrari.
Yeah.
Now the gap is 1.5 seconds between Slinky and ZQ. Slinky is flying at the moment.
It's either Slinky is completely flying and showing his true pace here, or ZQ is a bit slower. And I think it might be a mixture of both, as Slinky's going to be really working hard to try and get this DRS. I don't think it will be close enough to get it on this straight. But I wouldn't put it past him if on this lap he manages to catch ZQ and maybe even pass him. As Kamui comes into the pits now, and that moves up Slinky into 7th place. But something we have to remember is that the top 10 drivers are still yet to pit, and neither is Chiquito. So at the moment it could be very interesting to see when the leaders pit and where they'll come out.
So we are halfway through the race. Peter Vol is winning the championship till now. He's leading the race. 3 seconds behind Tim Vreiswijk, being chased by Chris Hallett. So he finds himself in a Haas sandwich. Luno Jehe 4th and Slow Salt 5th. These are the top 5 drivers. While Slinky is now 1.3 seconds behind ZQ. Now it's down to 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's really showing his pace now. He's really just getting into a groove here.
There's something to point out. Slow Salt and Provatox are probably gonna pit sometime soon, sooner than the people on the hards.
Yeah, you'd think so. And Slinky very, very nearly into DRS range there.
He is.
Chris Hallett actually gets past him on the inside. We completely missed it. Well, caught the end of it, and Chris Hallett now finds himself in P2.
And Slinky finds himself in P6. As
Yeah,
ZQ.
ZQ has just come into the pits, and he's going to be fitting mediums.
And now Slinky chasing Soul Salt. He was able to gain 3 tenths, 4 tenths now. It's very exciting to watch him drive.
I'm sorry, but didn't ZQ start on the mediums?
ZQ, I think he did.
Yeah, because he's on another set of mediums. I'm not too sure if he actually started on mediums, but if he's just put on another set of mediums, he's going to have to make another stop.
Maybe he's leaving the softs.
Actually, I think he may have been on hards. I'm not 100% sure, but when I saw him come into the pits, he had the mediums on. And then he switched to another set of mediums.
Well, Slinky's now 1.8 seconds behind Slow Salt as Chiquito receives a 3-second time penalty. Maybe Slow Salt has started to struggle a little bit. Luno Jehe very close to the Ferrari of Tim Vreiswijk. Oh, that was a hit in the rear. And they're gonna go to the pits. Chris Hallett, Tim Vreiswijk, Luno Jehe are in the pits.
We're going to have to see where Chris comes out compared to iZenox, because I've been keeping an eye on the gap to the leader for iZenox. And he is 18.5 seconds. iZenox actually gets out ahead. He's ahead of Chris Hallett.
Uh-oh, Chiquito. Chiquito is out of the race.
Is that a safety car?
Retired. Safety car?
Retired in the pits. No, retired in the pit lane. Let me just see this gap between Chris and iZenox, because this will be a big indication as to where Peter Vold comes out. Looking at this gap, he is 3.8 seconds. Well, actually, he's 2.8 seconds behind iZenox. So if Peter Vold pits, he's going to be very, very close between himself and iZenox.
Oh,
That's
no.
Robin Wesling. It's a safety car.
Full course yellow.
That has just saved Peter Vold's race.
Do you think so?
Well, the longer he would have gone on, the
Straight to the pits.
more likely iZenox would have, when Peter Vold pitted, the more likely iZenox would have been to coming out, well, for Peter Vold to be coming out behind iZenox.
And I think...
Although, yeah, Peter Vold would be on fresher tyres. And he's going on to the softs.
Oh. 10 laps on the softs?
That's the risk. But look at iZenox, he's actually still come out ahead of Peter Vold, but iZenox is on 5-lap-old hards. Peter Vold is on the softs.
He's going to be
Slow
defenseless.
Salt as well comes out on the softs, and Rui Diaz, he came in nearly being lapped. He's out on the softs as well.
And Slinky is now in 5th place. You know something? The safety car is helping Slinky by closing down the gaps between the cars. That way he can have better chances at getting a podium finish.
Yeah.
So iZenox is going to be defenseless at the safety car resume because Peter Vold has a fresh set of softs.
Yeah. It's going to be very, very difficult for iZenox to keep him behind.
Well, while we are speaking, the match between England and Germany has just started. It's iZenox provisionally leading the race. followed by Peter Vol and Chris Hallat of the Haas. In fourth place, Luno Jayhey and Slinky. These are the top 5 drivers. We are on the 16th lap of the race. We're gonna have one more lap behind the safety car. And after that, the flags will go green, the cars will go vroom.
Well, we'll have to see Rui Diaz because he's still got a catch. Safety car usually goes once all of the cars have caught up to the back, and it doesn't look like Rui Diaz is actually catching. He is going full pace here. I actually just missed it, but we have quite a few other drivers pitting onto the softs now.
But do you think...
So the likes of Pels, Wooly, Provatox could be jumping up a few places here because they've got Chris, SJM, Kamui and ZQ all ahead of them on medium tyres. The same for Slow Salt. He could find himself in a battle for P3 here because he's on a faster tyre and everyone ahead of him apart from Peter Vol and Xenox.
But do you think they're going to be able to complete 10 laps on the softs? Well, it's now a little bit less than 10 laps, probably 8 or 9 laps.
I think the longer the safety car goes on, the more it will benefit the soft runners. Possibly our Xenox as well, because his hard tires are gonna be fresher than what they would have been if we would have been like if we carried on and there was no safety car. His hard tires would be are in a lot better condition than they would have been.
And I believe the safety car is gonna come in this lap.
Oh no, it's gonna stay out one more lap.
One more lap?
It would have come in by now. The safety car would be in the pit lane by now. Just waiting for Rui Diaz. I'm just on board with him now. He's just going towards the end of Sector 3. So, we'll most likely be coming in this next lap.
So, the safety car is dependent on...
So, Kamui is actually pit in for soft tyres and Gongax as well.
So just for clarification, is the safety car in the game dependent on how far is the last driver from the queue?
I think it may, unless it's in the last final laps and there's a safety car that comes out maybe with 5 laps to go.
Well, if that's the case...
basically just come in the next lap, I think, if it's 5 laps left.
If that's the case, I don't want to think about any conspiracy theories, but was Rui Diaz doing that on purpose to try to help someone here?
I'm not too sure, because I was just on board with him, and when he was going around trying to catch the safety car, he was going pretty much full pace the whole way around. So I don't think there's any conspiracy theories that he was just trying to go as slow as possible.
You know, conspiracy theories are entertaining sometimes. Especially if a safety car is deployed. Because things become so boring.
We won't get into that.
Yeah.
We won't get into safety cars.
Nope. We have LFR Wizzy saying, Slinky, what a drive. And then saying, Peter doing amazing. Well, once again, I understand these two drivers are driving for the same team, but they are, let me call them frenemies. They might be friends off track, but on track, they are rivals, and they are fighting for the championship.
The safety car's coming in this lap, and going to be interesting to see how Xenox takes this restart. being the only driver still on the hard tyres, he might find himself way down in the order.
I think he messed up.
Yeah, I think he made a big mistake. And he goes. Peter Vol has actually caught it. Yeah, he's still weaving, trying to warm up the tyres a little bit more. SJM gets past AQ, just looking at any potential incidents that may happen. It looks like Slow Salt and Rui Diaz and SJM, I believe, all had incidents at turn 1.
And Slinky lost the position.
Yeah, Slinky lost the position to Tim Vreiswijk. So Slow Salt has dropped all the way back, and Kamui gets moved on, and Gongax is in the wall, and he's lost his front wing. Very unfortunate for Gongax, but looking ahead, iZenox has actually pulled away from Peter Vol a little bit there, as it's only 6 temps now, but yeah, Peter Vol is really using his ERS, and look how much pace he has. Literally halved the gap that it was, and now he's nearly within 2 temps. Both of them using the ERS. Peter Vol getting very, very close. Doesn't look for a dive, goes for a wide entry so he can get close. The late apex, and look how much entry speed he has. It's going to be looking to take the outside line, which becomes the inside line for turn 2. Side by side. iZenox backs out of the move, but Peter Vol goes very deep. They're still side by side, still going, and it looks like Zenox is just gonna. Oh no, he's still gonna stick it. Still side by side.
It's never gonna end.
This battle for the lead. Peter Vol decides to back out of it. An insane battle for the lead that lasted nearly the whole first sector. Very, very good racing here from iZenox and Peter Vol.
Well, one slight mistake would have postponed Peter Vol's championship. The championship decider. Again, he needs to finish in the top 3 in order to win the championship, and he is doing so at the moment, while Slinky is in 6th place.
I think if there was an incident where Peter Vol had gone to the back of the grid, in the position that Slinky is in now, he'd be scoring 5 points, so that would have been enough to stop Peter Vol from getting the championship.
I'm on board now with Tim
But
Vreiswijk.
look at Peter Vol go. He actually timed it perfectly, so iZenox is ahead of him in the DRS detection. I don't think DRS is active yet. It just got enabled now. Now he's got the inside line, which becomes the outside line. iZenox, nothing he can do about it. Peter Vol finds himself back in the lead of this race. But you have to give it to iZenox on much older tyres, much older hard tyres. He's putting up a very, very good fight against Peter Vol on the soft.
Well, indeed, he was at a big disadvantage. He tried to keep up, but at some point the softs are gonna win, and now Peter Vol is leading the race. 5 more laps to go.
Yeah, he's not exactly pulling away from iZenox though. The gap is still around 5 tenths, and iZenox cut. He made contact, slight contact with the wall on the inside there, and that just pushed him way over the corner, cut the corner. 3 seconds penalty there. That's his own fault, unfortunately. So what could have a race that could have seen him get a podium here. Now with that 3 seconds, he's going to be dropping all the way back.
Chris Hallett was benefiting from that. He was 1/10 behind iZenox. And now enabling the DRS and the ERS on the main straight. They both have DRS. Seems that Chris Hallett is going to be moving to the inside line while being careful not to dive bomb his teammate. Chris Hallett, he's being a little bit squeezed and he goes through. He was squeezed by his teammate Peter Vol and Izenix. And I think they're in a party together. I don't think Chris Hallett is going to try to overtake his teammate since he's fighting for the championship. You can see that clearly from the body language of the car as he was weaving around when his car was slightly faster than Peter Vol's car.
Yeah, you can definitely see there's great teamwork between these two drivers. And you can see why Haas is leading the championship. Now I think with this, if it stays as a 1-2 for Haas, may even clinch them a Constructors title, which I thought I'd never hear Haas winning a Constructors title. It'll be interesting to see if Chris actually uses his DRS here. He does. He's using his DRS. Maybe he's not.
What?
Maybe he wants to win for himself.
What?
It won't affect whether Peter Vol wins the title or not. Because, well, Slinky is down in 6th place.
But you know, they shouldn't be playing these type of games. When a championship is on the line, you should not be playing these type of risky games. One tiny mistake can send you home.
Yeah. One misjudged corner, one misjudged braking zone, and that can see Peter Vol out of this race and Slinky keeping his championship hopes alive. There's a Sector 1. Believe that's Rui Diaz in the Red Bull, who had a little bit of a spin there. But this DRS train is going all the way back to ZQ. So, technically, everyone there is still within a chance of winning this race, apart from Luno, Izenix and ZQ with the penalties they have. So it's only really Chris, Peter Vol, Tim Vreiswijk and Slinky who can technically win this race.
With 3 laps to go.
Yeah, 2 laps to go now. Well, yeah, 2 laps to go now. It looks like, a little bit of a moment there for Chris Hallett. Just looking at the ERS available for all the drivers. In the top 3, Peter Vol is in the best situation with nearly 40%. Then we have Chris Hallett with 25, Luna Johe on 22.
Izenix getting very close to Slinky. Slinky closing the door. SJM with the fastest lap. Wooly with a 3-second time penalty.
Someone who I'm a bit shocked hasn't had a great race here is Wooly, being, I believe he's 4th in the championship, but after this he may drop behind Chris Hallett. I'll have to double check that. Yeah, Wooly's currently 4th, but with how it's going, Chris Hallett will actually jump. If he wins this race, he's going to find himself in 3rd place, I believe. May find himself in 3rd place, as there's been an incident at the last corner. I believe it may have been Kamui. As Slinky gets past Tim Vreiswijk.
Finally.
But they're still battling, and Slinky, well, he finds himself 4th place in this race, but Tim is still there. we're on the last lap of this race. Both Slinky and Tim both have below or near enough below 10% ERS left. But Izenox, out of nowhere, is actually caught up behind Tim. I think they both have 3 seconds of penalty, so this is for race position here. As now Tim is practically pushing Izenox through this corner. As Tim actually collides with the wall on the exit there. There's only one man that we need to be on board with at this moment. It's the race leader, Chris Hallett, getting past Peter Vol and just staying there. Peter Vol's soft tyres might be dropping off.
Well, 9 laps on the softs is a bit too much.
Yeah, it's a bit too much, but he made it work. And Izenox actually gets past Slinky now.
And ladies and gents, it's Chris Hallett who wins the race in Jeddah. Slinky on the podium due to penalties.
Yeah, very, very good race there from Slinky, but Peter Vol, with this result...
Does he win the championship?
He might... Well, I'm not too sure, because Robin might put in a steward's report for that incident.
It might ruin his race.
It might ruin Peter Vol's race, but even still, for him to be outscored by 5 points...
So we are not too sure whether he won the championship or not.
It will have to be... Yeah, for Slinky to outscore Peter Vol by 5 points, that penalty will have to be quite severe.
Speaking of the driver of the day, I don't think this graphic is correct. For me, the driver of the day was obviously Slinky. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Slinky had a very, very good recovery drive there, dropping pretty much to the back of the field. Where, yeah, he dropped to last, and to finish on the podium in P3 is an excellent drive from him. But as it stands, provisionally, Peter Vol has won the PSGL F8 Drivers' Championship, and I believe with that 1-2 for Haas, they have provisionally won the Constructors' Championship. So big congratulations to Peter Vol, and a big congratulations to both Peter Vol and Chris Hallett for both being very good drivers all season. But of course, after this, we've still got 2 more races. We've got, I believe, Kota next week, and then the season finale at Silverstone, which is very weird to say.
Well, ladies and gents, here are the unofficial results. We are going to still wait for the stewards to have their say after this. It's Chris Hallett who won the race. Second place, Peter Vol. It's a 1-2 for the Haas. In third place, Slinky, who had an amazing race today. Izenox in fourth place, followed by Luno Jayhey, Tim Vreiswijk in sixth, ZQ in seventh, Provatox eighth, followed by Pels in ninth place, seems like a new driver, and Chris in 10th place. So if the things stay the way they are, and if the stewards decide no more change, I would like to say congratulations to Peter Vol, congratulations to the Haas, and I would like to, I know this might sound unusual, I would like to congratulate Slinky as well for his amazing performance and for the second place in the championship, well, so far at least.
Yeah, he's still gotta... It's not all wrapped up. The second place is not wrapped up yet, of course. LFR Dan, he didn't race tonight, but Slinky is now 10 points ahead of Dan in championship for the fight for second place. So that fight is still very much on between those two.
Well, ladies and gents, to find out who's gonna get that second place, we hope to see you next week. Until then, have a good night. Salim Haddad and Speed Quinn kissing you good night. Do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, see you.